If you feel your classroom's out of control and you're looking for some quick wins on how to get that classroom back to where you want it to be, then this video is for you. I'm gonna share with you 3 things that I believe if you implement in your classroom, you're gonna see change. You're gonna see improvement, and you're gonna see a classroom that you've always wanted. So let's get started here. First thing you gotta understand is that there's so many things you can do in your classroom, so many different possibilities. You're gonna hear so much advice from everybody. But if I had to pick 3 things that I think are gonna make the most dramatic change in your class, the first one would be a seating chart. I cannot stress enough how important a seating chart is. See, the reality is this: a lot of times what happens in a classroom is we're reactive. We're responding to a situation, or we're responding to something that goes on in our classroom, and we're on the defense. The seating chart gives us a chance to be on the offense. A seating chart, first of all, a well-designed seating chart, you can eliminate problems before they even happen. Give you an example. Let's say you have 2 students in your classroom, Tom and Susie. And Tom is always annoying Susie. Tom's always annoying Susie. What you'd want to do is you want to create your seating chart with that in mind. And so you probably want to separate Tom and Susie. Just by separating them, you're going to see an improvement in the overall classroom management. Simple thing as that. But that starts with the seating chart. Now imagine this. Imagine not only just Tom and Susie, but imagine you know exactly what kids are going to be problems. And so you specifically designed your seating chart to resolve some of those things before they even begin. So for example, let's say there's Bob, and Bob's always getting up because he wants to sharpen his pencil. But every time Bob gets up to sharpen his pencil, he pokes people, touches people along on the process. Now, one way you can eliminate that before it even starts is put Bob right next to the pencil sharpener. So that way when he gets up, he has no excuse to go near anybody else. In my classroom, it's kind of set up in rows for the most part. And so if you look at it, imagine a rows, imagine kind of being square shaped. And so I have 4 corners. I use those 4 corners in my classroom to, I'm not sure the words isolate, but to make sure the students that I have the most trouble with are kind of away from everybody else. Now, what I mean by away is they're like only 1 desk away from somebody else. But it's amazing just how 1 desk space between them and somebody else can make all of the difference. So there's a whole other examples like that that I can give to you. But a seating chart can eliminate more than half the problems before they even start. So make sure you put a lot of time and effort into that and create one that's going to give you the most success. The second thing are routines. The routines support the seating chart. But once again, a classroom can have 100 different routines. The purpose of a routine is to get the class where you want it to be at. And so out of all the routines, I'm only going to pick one here. I believe that the warm-up routine is the most important. What happens the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of class makes all the difference throughout the entire class. So you're going to, first you got your seating chart, but then if you have to focus on routines, focus on what students do the moment they walk through that classroom, all right? If you got a solid warm-up routine or a solid routine, entering routine, you're going to see dramatic changes. So for me, here's my routine. First of all, students know not to come up to me with questions or anything else the first 5 minutes of class. They're not to do that, right? Their job is to come in. And so I am strategically located at the front of the room by the door. So I have enough room for students to walk past me, no problem at all. So there's no issues there. But I'm able to see outside easily. And I'm able to see in the class, I'm in the classroom, so I'm able to see what's going on in the classroom. So I'm able to monitor students coming in and what's going on in the classroom. I also have this door stopper put in. So that way the door is open. So there's no congestion, no problem, no bottlenecking going on. So kids are easily able to come into the classroom, no problem. Soon as the bell goes off, right? As soon as the bell goes off, the late bell, I close the door. This is all part of my routines. It creates the urgency. It creates the thing that I'm not waiting around for students. Nothing else like that. And so now, boom, timer goes, bell goes, and class has begun. I'm standing at the very front of the room, and for that first minute, I'm just monitoring the class. I'm making sure everybody is sitting down, no one's messing around, no problems are going off, nobody's yelling. And within a minute of class starting, everybody's sitting down and they are working. That's all part of the routine. Continue with that is I actually have on the board, and I practiced this for about 2 or 3 weeks straight at the beginning of the year. It's my warm-up procedure, warm-up routines. There are certain things we do almost every day in the class as far as when students first walk in. Maybe it's terms and names, maybe it's geography skills, maybe it's reading a timeline or something else. So students will come in, they will sit down, they will look at the screen, and they will work. All part of the routine. And then another thing of that is on my wall right behind me is I have a timer going. So the timer is starting, even before the kids walk in, the timer is going. But if I tell the students, and on my whiteboard, or actually on my smart board, it tells them what they have to do. It tells you got 8 minutes to do it, and they look and there's a timer going. Once the class is settled in, a minute, 2 minutes the most, I'm then taking my attendance. I'm taking my attendance, seeing who's here, not here. Almost invariably, a student might come in late with a pass or something like that. And of course, I'm taking care of that. And so probably within the first 4 minutes of class, everybody's working. My attendance is done. Now I got 4 minutes left to kind of just monitor the room. 4 minutes left to answer questions if I need to. I'm walking the classroom answering questions. If someone needs to go to the restroom, then that's the point they can ask me. If someone needs something, that's the point they can ask me. And so now by the time the timer finally goes off, it's been about 8 minutes of class. The class is settled. Everybody started working. We already are locked in for what we're doing for that day. I've taken care of all housekeeping, and the tone has been set. The third thing that's going to make a huge difference in classroom management is this: progressive discipline. Oh my lordy, progressive discipline. Here's the idea behind progressive discipline. First of all, you got to hold kids accountable for their actions. You got to set certain standards. But then you have to hold kids accountable for those standards. And if they don't make those standards, or if they fall short of that standards, we're not talking about standards, I'm talking about behavior, right? Behavior expectations. If they fall short of that, you have to hold them accountable, and there has to be some sort of discipline. I mean, this is just part of life, right? Part of life, if I don't pay my bills, there's a consequence, right? If I yell at somebody, there's a consequence. If I don't go to work, there's a consequence, right? And consequence, discipline, however you want to look at it, you got to understand it's not negative. You just got to understand that there's like a cause and effect, which helps us with our behavior and how we function in life and go through the day. So what I want you to think about this progressive discipline, the goal of progressive discipline is not to punish a student, is to change behavior, to alter behavior. And the idea of progressive discipline is that you're putting enough pressure, enough discipline to alter the behavior. Whatever that might be. It could be just a simple conversation. It could be a call home. It could be a 5-minute detention. It could be a half an hour detention. Whatever you need to do to alter the behavior, that's what you're going to do. But progressive means that we're going to start with the smallest thing first and work our way up. One, because our goal is just change behavior. And so we start the smallest thing first. We're going to find out exactly what it takes to make that student change what they do. So let me give you an example here. So let's say I'm in the front of class teaching, and there's a student in the back, 2 students in the back that are talking to each other. My expectation is this: when I am teaching, it is to be quiet. When I am talking, or anybody is talking in class, the response to the students is to be quiet. If there's something they want to share, they got to raise their hand. That's common courtesy, right? And so I'm in front of class, the 2 students back are talking. What I may do is the first discipline, I just may stare at them. I give them a look until they quiet down. That is it. That is the consequence. That is the discipline. That's the first part of the progressive discipline, right? If that's all it takes, then we're good. I'm just trying to alter their behavior. So let's say I look over at them and they get quiet. We're good. A minute goes by and they're starting to talk again. What I may do is I may come up to them quietly, let's say, while they're doing something, and I say, hey, 2 minutes ago when I was up there talking, you guys were talking. You can't be doing that. Is there any reason you cannot stop that from here on forward? All right. And then that's the second thing. So I talk to them personally, right? Hopefully just trying to alter behavior. Same class period, whatever else, maybe next class period. Next time I see them, I'm over there talking, it goes on again. This is like the third time. So the previous two things didn't not work. So now I have to take it up to the next level. And so what I might do is write their name on the board and say, see me after class. We need to talk, right? A little more intense, a little more higher up on the level. And so then I might talk to them. My goal is not to get them in trouble. My goal is not to do any of that. My goal is to alter behavior. So they talk to me after class and I say, hey, here's the deal. I love having a class. Hey, I'm okay if you talk, but you got to raise your hand, share your thoughts. But when I'm talking, you need to be quiet. So I just got to let you know, if it continues, we're going to have to start issuing some more consequences. Then it happens like a fourth time, right? Once you start seeing the pattern, so don't get too stuck on the numbers, get stuck on the pattern. Once you see the pattern happening, then that's when you got to amp it up a little bit. And so the fourth time happens, I say, hey, put name on the board, see me after class, let's talk. After class, I say, hey, I already gave you a warning, and now you have a lunch extension. Come in at lunchtime for 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and that is it. But each time it goes up a level, right? And the next thing you might be talking to the parents, the next thing you might do, but you get the idea. So if you have progressive discipline in place, first of all, what this does is if you just went from 0 to 100, if you went from that's it, I'm sending you to the office, that's going to take a lot of time on your part, a lot of effort. You're going to have to call home. You're going to have to call the office. You're going to fill the paperwork. It's going to bog you down. And so you don't want to go from 0 to 100 like that. You want to see what you can take care of in the classroom with the smallest amount of consequences possible. It's going to save you time, energy, emotions, thoughts, and all of that. But then just take it to the level of where you need to. So those three things, let's make sure we got this here. Here we go. Seating chart, some sort of warm-up routine, beginner class routine, and progressive discipline. You implement those three things in your classroom, you're going to make your life so much easier when it comes to classroom management. Those are the three things you got to start with.